So basically to properly clean out a skimmer box, we want to make sure our basket is clean. We can easily pull it up from this handle, pull that out, and be able to dispose of our leaves. Now that can be done as needed. Now the door on this guy can either swing down or we can actually lock it into place. So on this one, I like to just lock it into place. So basically I want to pump it down just a little bit. So as water's going down, there's my filter. It's fairly clean. Also, if there's debris in here, which there is, we actually need to pull that out because that's basically where the basket sits. Okay, so the basket sits within that tray. So we generally want to clean this guy out. Basically, where you can see these tabs, these two tabs in here, need to be go underneath the tray. Okay, and basically this tray sits below these two tabs. Now I also want to make sure that my pump is clean. So you can see all that stuff. It's very, very important that whenever we turn off or want to clean the skimmer, whether even if it's the basket or this filter pad, we actually want to make sure that the pump is turned off. So I'm just gonna pull off all the leaves off of the intake on this. There's a little intake strainer on the front end of the pump. So I want to do a little bit of more of an advanced technique. And so we're actually going to be pulling the pump out because there's a lot of leaves in this thing. Now that requires us to disconnect the check valve. When we disconnect that check valve, obviously we got all of our water up in the biofall, and now it's physically drained. You will get some clouding going on from any kind of debris left over the course of a year of it running, but that'll dissipate over the next few days. So generally when I want to pull the pump, reason being is that the intake on this gets clogged up. So as you can see, we've got a little bit of leaves already pulled off, some of them, but it'll basically bind up to that faceplate. And so we want to clean that strainer completely. One of the things that I'll do also is I'll go ahead and plug it in, and I'm going to flush this just to make sure it's good to go. Now I'm going to just flush it just real quick. And I could do that outside or inside the pond. Alright, so it's not quite as running as I'd like it to. So we're going to take this guy apart. So a few tools that we're going to be needed for taking this pump apart. Flathead screwdriver, some large pair of channel locks. We've got a little cheap net, and of course some handy dandy long gloves. So those are some of the tools that are needed. In this step here in particular, we're actually having an issue with the pump itself. It's actually not flowing that well, so it's struggling a little bit. And so basically what I do is I take a flathead screwdriver, kind of pop this off a little bit, and we're disconnecting it from the center here where it's attached. Now I kind of tap that out, make sure that there's any big stuff I want out of there, and then I unscrew this by hand. And so basically I want to inspect the impeller and take a look at that. So I already know that my plug-in is unplugged, so my pump is actually off and unplugged. If you can see in there, that's our problem. So we got large amount of debris inside the impeller, and that's why it's struggling so much. Now it's working in free turning, but it's all plugged up. So there's two ways that I can do this. I can continue to spin this and pull this out, or I can actually take the volute off with 4 bolts on the back side of this over here. Then I can unscrew all 4 of those out and actually take the volute out. So on this one in particular, might have to do this. I'm not sure yet. Let's see if we can get it properly flushed out. So I'm going to take out most of the big stuff, and then we're going to flush it. So what I mean by flush is that we're going to plug it in. I'm going to set it in the water, and we're going to just run it just for a few seconds. Runs a little bit better now, doesn't it? So that's about what we want out of that. Let me unplug this. Pump is unplugged. I know it's safe for me to put my finger in there. I'm spinning that around, everything's clean. So in this one in particular, I didn't have to take this apart, but we get big stuff that's jammed in there. Yeah, we're gonna have to pull this apart. So I got lucky today. So I'm gonna go ahead and spin this back on. Put the skimmer back together. Now, actually, before I do that, the reason why I brought this guy, I want to get all the leaves and debris out. So I'm going to pull this out. Tamp the leaves out of that. I'm going to take this net and I'm going to draw up all the leaves are in the bottom of this skimmer. Those are all leaves. Because we just installed this last year, it's always good for us to follow up just to make sure that if there's anything that needs warranted, we take care of it. That's why we warranty things. Everything that we install is warranty for a year. The other way you could do this is take it out by hand. If you had the pump still installed, we could just pump the water down and you just pull out the leaves by hand and close the door basically so it's all pumped down and you can see everything. Right, we're golden. Okay, so next step, I'm going to just go ahead and lock that door and we're going to install our pump and our plate. So this is our plate that the filter pad actually rests on. So it basically rests on like that. And then our skimmer basket sits in this groove right there, just on top. So these plates are a little tricky. Well, we want to kind of put it in sideways like this. And we always want the flat edge down in first. Okay, and that's actually below tabs, and so I'm just feeling for the tabs where they're at. I'm just making sure that I'm below those on that flat edge of that rack. And then I just push it straight down. And that's it, we're in. Now generally it does want to try and float itself back up, so you may have to just check on it before you set your pump. But the other thing is we want motor side in first. So we put motor down in first and then we get it flat at the bottom of the skimmer. Okay. So we got our cords up and out of the way. And I just slid this pump into that big opening in that plate. Now for this purpose, just so I can show you guys, I'm going to connect my pump. I'm going to pump the skimmer down just so I can show you the final result. All right, but generally hand tight is good. So if you look in here, so water goes down my plate is flat. It's below these two tabs. So these are the two tabs that I was talking about. Now our filter pad is going to go straight on top of that. Just like that. Okay. I'm going to unplug that pump for a minute. So my filter pad is going to go right on top of that plate. I'm going to try and tighten this opening here where the slit is in the pad. And then basically our basket is going to go right over the top within that opening and then straight down. It's going to clear these two tabs in here so I get a good clean fit. Now at this point, what I can do is open up this skimmer opening. So that'll fill in with water. I've got some remaining leaves that just got introduced. I'm going to take those out. Should be ready to go. And we're going to be plugging in on my hands. I'm going to be plugging this in. And that should do it.